Hello, somebody. Good evening from my part of the world. Good evening from my part of the world. Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you'll be watching this video and at what time. If you're on, let me know where you're joining me from so I'll be able to welcome you. Another interesting conversation. The courage. The courage to edit, design, and redesign our lives. The courage to edit, design, and redesign our lives. A mother, a friend who is elderly, so I consider her a mother, once asked, where do you learn the things you are learning these days? And I'm like, the universe has so much to teach us, if only we be teachable. Everything has some learning curves in them for us, but many a time we miss these lessons. Either we are not ready to learn, or we take them for granted that anybody and anything can teach us the lessons we need in this life. It's been an amazing journey. An amazing journey. And I'm so grateful for some gifted and talented people my way. I'm so grateful. Many of the things people see as little things are not little to me at all. Because it's a sum total of the little things that make great impacts in our lives. I'm grateful, a grateful soul. The courage to edit our lives. The courage to design and redesign our lives. So today I'm talking to you about something I'm so excited about. My new book that I will learn to mark my 50th birthday. And listen to the journey just after all the years, the hard work that has gone into this book. We took it to printing and a whole lot of lessons unfolded. And that's what I want to share with you. Not what is in the book. Wait, that one you get your own copy and you'll be amazed at what you read. But for now, let's look at the lessons I have learned that I think you calling me to learn also. So today I want to talk to you about something that many of us find difficult, but incredibly important. That is making the necessary edits, designing and redesigning to our lives. So just like a writer revises a draft, some people go for ghost writers to write for them. Sometimes you ask people questions, they say I am an author. You ask them questions and they're like, oh, I don't know. Let me give you a contact information of either the printer or the publisher because I don't know. And I'm like, okay. Some of us want to know everything. The message we are sending across, every dot is important to us. And we want it set in a particular way. I will follow it until the last day that the book is officially out. And I think that is what we're supposed to have lived as humans. Just like you edit your book and edit and you revise it, the draft, until you are satisfied. You know that kind of feeling that you do a work and you know this is the exact thing you wanted and you are so excited. Yes, that is it. So just like a writer revises a draft, our lives often require adjustment, corrections, and even bold writes. So what holds us back from making these changes? Let's have some fun here tonight. This is the book. Hooray! Keziah at 50, the journey called life. And look at the amazing thing. The message is intact already. But it gets into the printer and a whole lot of lessons began unfolding. I work with a team. I believe in different perspectives. I believe everybody you work with has a mind of his or her own. And when you allow people to equally think and come from different perspectives, you'll be amazed what you will learn. So everybody went for this photograph. And some of the reasons given were so touchy, so amazing. I mean, this is my Facebook profile. So anybody who sees this knows that, yes, this is Keziah Chumesi. People give, impactful meanings, and we all went for it. We all went for it. And then we printed this. And we started reviewing. And we started reviewing. And we started reviewing. And the conclusion is, for 50 years of my life, this is what I've lived. This is who I am. This is what people know me to be. I can't still use a photograph that is 2 years ago to present the Keziah 2.0 to the world. So why is everybody interested in that picture? Because it's my profile picture. And that's why I realized a whole crowd can be wrong. Honey, a whole crowd can be wrong. A whole crowd can be wrong. We are always familiar with the easier way, because going the extra mile equally comes with a cost. To assemble the team again means you have to do something else extra for them because you've already finished our work. And this is the cost, the price that we are not ready or willing to pay. Sometimes we are not ready for even different perspectives. We are afraid to embrace different perspectives because we are afraid people will conclude either we are weird, either we are overzealous, all the synonyms we are afraid to be identified with. And so we arise to the power of making the final decision to be responsible for our wins and losses we are not ready to live yet. And so we get into the point that we say, if it's successful, I take the responsibility. If it doesn't go right too, I take the responsibility. That is when leadership is at work. We often go with the crowd because we don't want to be pinpoint. We don't want to stand out on the losses. So when we miss and mingle and we are with the crowd, then it means it is not, no, we didn't make it happen. It is all of us. So we are used to the all of us. Oh, it's our decision. All of us decided Nobody wants to own up for the failures. Everybody wants to identify with the wins, but we are not ready to accept the losses. And growth happens when we are ready to own the losses and to own the wins too. And so we get to that point where we say, yes, I made it and I accept responsibility. And I believe as long as it has to do with your life, with your message, with your story, then you have the final say. Then you have the final say. And until you own up enough to your life, for the good, the bad, and the ugly, you haven't begun living yet. The power to make the final decision, to be responsible for the wins and the losses, until then you are not ready to live yet. Which areas of your life do you need to edit, design, or redesign? Let's have another difficult and yet necessary conversation. What really holds us back from making those changes? What exactly holds us back from making these changes that we know we need? That we know will propel us to our next level. What is exactly holding us back? The answer is often fear. Fear of the unknown. Fear of failure. Fear of losing what we've grown comfortable with. Fear of people's judgment. Fear of insults. And just like I always say, it's not everybody who is ready, willing, and able to own their lives and live. So if such people judge you, why would you even pay attention to it? And because of that, you know what you are supposed to do, and yet you are afraid. As for me, I'm ready to learn. And just like I always say, every day the universe has something to teach us. Either we ignore, either we think we know it all. That's the place that when I see people there, I just wink and pass. Because me, I don't know it all. And that's why I'm ready and willing to learn every day. And that is why everything teaches me about life. So I'm here one more time to share, to let you know that having the courage to make these edits, to design and redesign our lives, can lead to a life of greater fulfillment, purpose, and happiness. Until you get to the place whereby you say, yes, everybody knows you can afford, but if it doesn't bring you purpose, profits, and increase, it is not for you. If there's no benefits in it, you don't want to waste your money. You don't want to waste your time. I think that is when we are in charge. Everybody knows you're excited about a particular thing. But this time around, you say, no, no ma'am, no sir, because I am working on something else. I don't have the luxury of time to waste. This is not the way I want to show my loyalty and allegiance. So yes, it is good, but it's not for me at this point in my life. The familiar and easier way. Do you know the whole crowd can be wrong? The whole crowd can be wrong. So until we own our lives and begin living, we'll just be lost. We'll just be lost. Until we are ready to pay the extra cost. And that cost might be money. It might be thinking aloud. It might be thinking, giving other people the opportunity to share different perspectives. It might be learning the more. It might be observing for a while. So it comes with a cost. It comes with a price to pay. Think of your life as a story, as a book, an author writing a book. And then you just order for printing and you go accept, and then you just accept anything. So think of your life as a story. Imagine your life as a story, writing a book, writing a story. Every day you write a new page. And over time, those pages form the chapters of your existence. So I started, and chapter 1 alone could be a whole book. Because a greater percentage of the message had to be with the foundation. When you miss the foundation, what are you building upon? But what happens when you come across a chapter that doesn't align with the person you want to become? What happens when you are editing and come across a statement that is so much ambiguous and you want the meaning to be clear? What do? You either edit, rewrite, or reframe that sentence so that the meaning will be there, straightforward for every reader, regardless of their background. What do you do when you realize that certain characters or plot lines are holding you back? What do you do when you read the book and it doesn't make sense to yourself, but you know what you are, the exact message you want to give to the world? What do you do? What do you do? You rewrite. Do you continue writing the same story out of fear? Or do you gather the courage to make the necessary edits? Would you be happy as an author to just take anything to print and you just send anything out there for people to buy with their hard currencies and money? You edit at all cost. It would have to make meaning to yourself. And sometimes even after series of reviews from other people. So why don't we have that courage to edit, design, and redesign our lives? So this is what everybody has seen, even the cover. But trust me, this is not the final product. You will love what you will see. Why do we resist change? Are we just comfortable with the familiar and the easier, knowing that there's no growth in there? We often resist change because it's easier to stick with what we already know, the familiar, the comfortable way of life. You've taken so many years, so many months, so many weeks into writing. So once you take it to the press, once you take it to, the printer, that is it. Whatever it says, they should print it for you. Hello. Will you do that as an author? Why do we do that with our lives then? We become so attached to our routines, our habits, and even our struggles, such that some of us can tell ourselves, you can tell yourself, this is just how things are. Or I'll change later when the time is right. There is nothing like the time is right. If there has to be any edit, it has to be now. Now that you've identified it, you edit it now. Now is the right time. As long as you read the book and it doesn't make sense to you, the author, you edit it. You design it and redesign it until you get that peace in your soul that this is the message, this is the design I want to send to the world. This is just how things are, and we settle. Or I'll change it later. Sometimes the later becomes never. Sometimes the later becomes never. And when you are working within a time frame, you put in everything. There have been times we had to sit down. I mean, it's not like we are the same place too. Far away, different continent. So we meet online, we would have to sit down for straight hours to discuss. I spoke to a woman who said, nobody writes my book, no ghostwriter. I write it myself too. So there are times, a whole day, I would bath in the evening after I've poured everything out there. To write, to type, to do the editing, I could sit behind a PC for hours because I want to edit. Is that not how our lives are supposed to be? That every other thing not working properly, we make the necessary edits, design and redesign until we get into what we are proud of. Does it mean we are comfortable giving other people the same dosage that we need, and yet we don't use it? How many more pages would you write before you decide to take control of your narrative? You write and destroy, you edit, design and redesign, and even after you have done a good work, you are still afraid to present that, the new you, to the world. What then was the use of all the struggles, of all the learning? You still want to present your old self to a particular people because you're afraid they'll judge you. So much learning has taken place. So much change has happened in you, and yet you are afraid for the world to notice. So you are still pretending to be your old self. Embrace the power of editing. Embrace the power of editing. Just look. Consider yourself as an author of a book. And yes, you are the author of your life, just like I am too. So just like a good editor, you have the power to revise your life story. Even after you've taken it to the print and paid even all a percentage of the money, you could still call it. You could still hold on to it and edit anything you want to edit. That is so much applicable to our lives. This doesn't mean erasing the past or denying your experiences. Instead, it means refining your story, removing the parts that no longer serve you. Just like you are editing the book. Just like you can cancel a whole chapter because you have other plans for it. Because that can equally be a whole book on its own. That is it. You can remove any parts that no longer serve you and making room for new positive developments. You can just be on a particular chapter. The whole book is already done, but you still want a conclusion for a particular chapter. Maybe it's time to edit out negative thoughts that clouds your mind and replace them with affirmations of your worth and potential. So much growth has gone on within you, but you are afraid of being judged. So you are still living your old way. You are afraid people will call you names. You are afraid people will ask what happened to her, what happened to him. Perhaps it's time to remove toxic relationships that drain your energy and surround yourself with people who uplift and inspire you. Every good actor will tell you that sometimes you need that moment where the inspiration will come. If you are not relying on a ghostwriter and you want to write yourself, many a time you need some inspiration to write. You can be in the middle of doing something and inspiration hits and you are searching for your laptop, you are searching for your journal, you just want to pen something, inspiration. You have the inspiration to write. Maybe it's time to change the direction of your career. Pursue that passion you've been putting off. Pursue that thing you know you can do passionately. Or simply make space for self-care in your daily routine. There is something at a particular moment of your life that you need to edit, design, or redesign. And courage is the key. Courage is the key. It's easier to be with the crowd and to be in the crowd. But the moment you want to stand out, you know you'll be pulled down. You know you'll be discouraged. You know there'll be distractions. So courage is the key. The courage that every actor needs to say that as long as I'm paying for this, it has to be my way. The courage to say that as long as it has to do with my story, I would want to present it to the world my way. So here's the thing. Making these edits requires courage. It takes bravery to let go of what's familiar, even when it's not serving you. There are a lot of things that are not serving us, and you need that courage to let it go. It takes strength to step into the unknown, to rewrite your scripts, and to trust that the changes you make will lead to something better. You know those moments that you take decisions that sometimes will even break your heart, but will empower your soul to march on relentlessly. So courage is not the absence of fear. In the midst of everybody judging you, you still say, this is the way I want to go. Courage is the willingness to act despite the fear. It's about acknowledging your fears, understanding them, and still choosing to move forward anyway, marching on regardless. When you have the courage to make the necessary edits to your life, you empower yourself to create a story that truly reflects who you are and who you aspire to be. So the easier way was to have just presented the old me, the old photograph of 2 years ago. But no, that is what everybody has accepted. That is who everybody has loved all these 50 years of my life. But I'm presenting a different version of myself. I can't use 2 years ago photograph. Would you accept it? I don't know. Why would I care? It is my story. It is my life. It is my message. If I'm waiting for you to accept it, then the chances of me not even bringing it out will be so high. Because the fact that you reject it does not mean somebody else wouldn't love it. Can I please everybody? No. So what do? I do the right thing. Take the right little step one day at a time. So when you edit your life, you empower yourself to create a story that truly reflects who you are and who you aspire to be. And the rewards of courageous edits are beautiful. Beautiful. When you Master the courage to make these edits. You open the door to endless possibilities. Because then you are willing, ready, and able to live with different perspectives to life. So you realize that many of the things that were so much, huge, gargantuan to you now become smaller. You allow yourself to grow, to evolve, and to live a life that is authentically yours. Aren't you tired of putting on that mask? Aren't you ready to live your authentic life? You begin to attract the experiences, the opportunities, and people that align with your true self. The universe, our God, will only support us when we are in our true selves. So in as much as it's normal for people to live pretentious life, to be who they are not, you can't be supported when you are living a pretentious life. So then why don't you take the mask and be who you are? And have the courage to say, this is what is trending, but I don't want it. It is not for me. There is no profit. There is no purpose in that. So thank you, but this is not for me. And remember, editing your life is not a one-time event. It is not a one-time event. So as an author, every time you have to write, it means you have to go through this cycle. And that applies to our lives. Every time you want to get into the next level, every time you want to grow and develop so you can deploy yourself to the world, you would have to edit certain aspects of your life. It's an ongoing process. As you grow and change, so too your story will and your life in the sum total of it. Embrace the idea that your life is a work in progress, just like mine. And that's okay. We make mistakes, we edit the part that we can edit, we design and redesign the parts that we can, and we march on regardless. The most beautiful stories are those that evolve, that surprise us, and that ultimately lead to a fulfilling and meaningful conclusions. So I encourage each and every one of you to look at your life with the eyes of an editor. That it doesn't matter even if the book is printed and you still want to edit and redesign it before you present it to the world. As an author, you have the right to do so. And you are the author of your life. Identify the areas that need to change, the parts that need refining, and the chapters that need a refresh, a new perspective. Have the courage to make those necessary edits and trust that in doing so, you are crafting a life that is not only authentic, but also deeply rewarding. And take it from this young woman. A whole crowd can be wrong. As a humanitarian leader, I work with people who are highly educated, and yet being educated is different from living life. People who are so much educated, and yet they are confined to their specific area of study. The universe has so much to teach us, but a greater percentage of people think they know it all. They know it all. And it's so sad because every day, regardless of educational background, there are things we are supposed to learn. The universe teaches us from every experience. So if you hide behind your education, you miss a lot of growing up. You miss, awesome lessons, life lessons. You miss life lessons. There are things you don't need your education to learn from. Your certificates can't teach you those things. You would have to humble yourself enough to learn. And there are lessons from life. Your life is your masterpiece. Don't be afraid to edit it until it reflects the person you truly want to be. You need the courage to say, yes, this is the life I own, regardless of educational background. There are learning curves in everything for all of us. Unfortunately, we miss because we think we have it all together. And the universe looks at us and smiles because there's no learning. There is no teachable spirit in us. So we miss a lot of valuable lessons in this life. You have awesome certificates, but your relationships are bad because the exact things you need to learn from, you miss because you're hiding behind your certificates, and that has nothing to teach you from living life. You went to school to study. I work with people who hold 2 PhDs. I'm not talking about education. I'm talking about living life. That's different. So some of you hold higher degrees and certifications, and you've worked at beautiful places. Your profile is beautiful on paper. But look at your human relationships. Look at your human relationships. Bad. Your interactions, bad. Your leadership, bad. Upon all the education, we don't know how to segregate even leadership. Our secular world kind of leadership wouldn't work in certain settings. But our certifications and the places we've worked prevent us from even understanding these basic aspects of life. When structures and systems already in place for you in your place of work and you think you're an awesome leader, you can't bring that leadership into this business world, into your relationship, into your groupings and settings. So we miss it hiding behind certificates. There is this quote from Terence McKenna, and I love it so much. It says, nature loves courage. You make the commitment, and nature will respond to that commitment by removing impossible obstacles. Dream the impossible dream, and the world would not grind you under. It would lift you up. This is the trick. This is what all these teachers and philosophers who really counted, who really touched the medical goals, this is what they understood. This is the shamanic dance in the waterfall. This is how magic is done. By hurling yourself into the abyss and discovering it's a feather bed. Unquote. There is so much that this life has to teach us, but we can only learn when we have teachable spirit. So there comes a time that you just put your certifications away and learn. The universe has so much to teach you. You can learn from nature. You can learn from people. Every day has something to teach you and I. But how are we learning? Are we missing the great edits in our lives? Are we just going through life as robotics? Or we are learning, picking up life lessons, so we are improving by the day? If you are to do life again, starting all over again, would you go the same path? If no, then it means there's still a learning path for you and I. And just like any author would do, until the last day that a book is ready to be presented to the world, you can still edit, you can still design, you can still redesign. It is your story, it is your message, and it's all about the way you want to present that to the world. Every day has something to teach you and I. Are we learning, or we are hiding behind our certifications? I have masters in this, I have PhD in that. So what life lessons are you learning aside your certifications? You are gifted in your area of study, but life is not just your area of study. What else are you allowing yourself to learn? What lessons are you learning from the universe? Every day has amazing lessons to teach you and I. But until we silence our ego, we'll miss these learning curves. And we'll become like a data that because she's paid for her work, all she wants is for the things to be printed, regardless of the corrections that must be done. Regardless of what is still bubbling in his or her soul to edit and to design and redesign. Until our last breath, we have the right and the capacity to edit, design, and redesign our lives. How are you editing yours? Consider yourself like an author. What do you need to edit in your life that you know would propel you to that next level? If you are afraid to stand alone, you can't grow and develop, because there's no growth in the comfort zone, and the whole crowd can be wrong. So if by now you still not develop a mind that will be able to speak for yourself, that will be ready to own your wins and your losses, your life hasn't even begun yet. And like any other author, it's like you haven't even started writing yet. It's still in there. You need the inspiration to put it on paper and to edit, design, and redesign until it gets into a state that you would be proud of. You are responsible for your life, just like I am responsible for my life. Let's get into a place where we live by design and not default. That everything that happens for us will be things we planned. Not just sitting down waiting for a miracle to happen. No plan, no agenda, nothing. Just because I've presented the book for printing doesn't mean that I can edit, I can design and redesign it. It is my book as an author. Just like your life is yours and you are the author of that life. You can edit it anytime. You can edit it. You can even print it and say, no, this is not what I want to present to the world. So take charge, my dear one. Take charge. Just like the saying of Terence McKenna, nature loves courage. So let's take that courage to own our lives and to live. For there is no growth in our comfort zones. And if you're afraid to own your losses and your wins, nothing can happen for you. You can grow. Growth can only happen for us when we say, I am responsible for the growth. I am responsible for the wins and for the losses. Good evening, Vivian. You are responsible for your life, Madam Vivian, and edit it to your specification. The popular opinion might not be what you need to get to your next level. So yes, this is my book I'm excited about. Keziah at 50, The Journey Called Life. But this is not what I'm presenting to the world. I've designed and redesigned it. And that gives me inspiration that yes, I can equally apply that to my life, to edit, to design and redesign my life until I take my last breath. And you have the capacity to, Vivian. You have the capacity to edit, design, and redesign your life. It is not always that the one who wins the popular vote wins the election. So everybody might have expectations of how your life is supposed to go, but you know what is bubbling in your soul. You know what is bubbling in your soul. So be in charge. For your life is your responsibility. Your life is your responsibility. Therefore, edit it, design it, and redesign it until we get into the taste that your soul will be proud of. So to round up, these are what my book has taught me as an author. Nothing even about the message in there, but just presenting the book to printing. This is what I've learned. That whenever you are ready, help and support will come. Whenever you are sure of the path to take, help will come. I work with people who are not angry, they were patient. I work with people who freely express their perspectives. And working within different perspectives is a beautiful thing. We have no idea how growth happens when we embrace different perspectives. You are in control of your life. When you let the people around you know that you are in charge, they respect your boundaries, your ideas, and your opinions, as you respect theirs also. Don't allow people to just throw anything at you. Just teach you how your life is supposed to go, knowing that that is not the right way you want to live. Be bold enough to say, thank you, but this is not for me. Be bold enough to say, yes, I can afford it, but I don't need it at this time of my life. Be brave enough to say, yes, it was exciting to me some years ago, but now, if it has nothing to do with purpose, I am not into it. Until I come your way again, remember that you are the author of your life. And whatever happens to you should be through your editing, your design, or your redesign. If not, you just go through the crowd like everybody else, but you will not really live your authentic life. If you want to live authentically, your truest self, then you have to periodically edit, design, and redesign your life like any other author would be. Thank you. Put your thoughts in the comment section there, and I would get back to you. Much love and blessings, everyone. Thank you for being on. We are marching on regardless. Bye for now.